Fortnite is finally listening to us about Battle Royale, you guys, and it may be actually fixed. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen the tons of people online lately saying that Fortnite Battle Royale is falling off or that Epic is starting to care less about it, especially with all the attention Blitz, UEFN maps and collabs are getting and things like that. But after this new giant loot pool update, and more importantly, the way Epic actually explained it and how well they communicated with us, it's really clear that they're not giving up on the main BR mode at all, and that it is still definitely a focus for Epic Games. This blog post that they released about it basically proves that Fortnite's still paying attention. They're not only making changes, but finally explaining why to us exactly, and that makes a huge difference. They've seen tons of praise around the community right now, and we're going to be going over all of it in this video. So what exactly changed in this update and why this might be the start of Epic finally listening for real, and some big changes could be coming to Battle Royale later on. So the first big thing, and this happened a few days ago, is they unvaulted 3 guns specifically: the Hollow Twister Assault Rifle, the MK7 Assault Rifle, and the Frenzy Auto Shotgun. Now what's kind of cool is initially I thought that this was kind of a random unvault, you know what I mean? Because all these weapons are relatively powerful, but there's not really a necessary theme here. They were all out during, different times in Fortnite's, lifespan. They were all kind of specific to individual seasons. But Epic said in the blog post that they specifically chose ARs with scopes and powerful auto shotguns because that's apparently what players have been asking for. Now, to be honest with you guys, I don't think anyone has been asking for this in particular, at least in the communities or in the areas that I've been looking, but there could be plenty of surveys where people are like, hey, what do you think about the game right now? What would you like to see added that I don't know about? Of course, Epic Games is going to have more information than we do. I love having, a red dot sight or something like that, or, scoped ARs in the games. I think that's a really, really fun thing to have, and they're always very powerful. So I like that, but the Frenzy Auto Shotgun, I could take or leave. Now, that's something that they've never really done before, actually saying like, hey guys, we picked these out because you guys have been wanting this type of gun in the loot pool, and I think that's really cool. Like, imagine if they do more of these things more often. It just goes to show that like when we ask for something, that they actually are paying attention to it. They are listening. They're not just kind of like tuning us out in the community. I think that's pretty cool. Now, the next thing they said is pretty huge. Epic said they're completely redesigning loot progression for the matches, which is one of the biggest issues, in my opinion, that BR has had for a while now. It's something that really made Fortnite not feel like Fortnite anymore. Basically, they said they want looting in each match to feel like a journey and not a grind. They said they wanted it to be like finding the right loot out feels satisfying again. And I think that's pretty cool. Like, remember back in the day, I don't know how many of you played in Chapter 1, but when you would find a golden scar, that was like the best thing in the world. It was so exciting. When you found a good weapon, you cherished it. And that really has been missing from Fortnite for a while. Looting has kind of just felt like in Fortnite, like just opening 30 chests for the same mid-tier gear over and over. You find the same good weapons, or good weapons are just too plentiful on the map. It's really cool that they're trying to bring back that kind of, special moment feeling when you find exactly what you've been looking for or what you need for your playstyle. Another thing too is they gave us a lot of actual mechanical changes to how loot spawns as well. They rebalanced just about everything: floor loot, chests, bug pods, golden POI drones, even military chests across the whole island. Every way that we get loot in Fortnite has been reworked in this little update that they released. This was like a full-on, like tuning up of, the game, meant to completely change how BR feels from start to finish. And based on the games that I've played, in the background here, you are seeing gameplay of when I played this. It definitely does feel that way. They also said that drop rates for things like Shockwave's hammers and the Lead Spitter 3000s were adjusted to feel more impactful and joyful, which I guess is Epic's way of saying like less spammy, or you just don't see it as often. I think that's a really good thing. I feel like the good weapons in this game were way too easy to find. Just about everybody had them, and it really just made it kind of feel, not special to find a weapon that was good or new or something like that. I did find some lead spitters and some, swarm strikes, but other than that, they weren't nearly as at the volume that I would normally find them, if that makes sense. All in all, they're just trying to make big weapons feel earned with changing how we find loot. Not just something you kind of pick up 3 times in one game and get bored of, or something where you have like an entire lobby filled with everybody who has it in their inventory, or where you can fill your entire inventory with it. And I think that's something that's definitely been missing from Fortnite for quite a while. Now, another thing too, and this was interesting as well, I didn't expect them to do something like this, but they talked about legendary slurp juice and how it's supposed to feel rare and powerful, not just everywhere all the time. And I definitely do feel them. I feel like the legendary slurp juice was something that you kind of found a little bit too often. They even said players should be able to remember when they found one in a match. That's such a cool way to put it, in my opinion, and it shows they're thinking about game feel and not just the stats, not just looking at, how people are playing the game and how it runs in playtests. They're actually looking at, how it feels for players and how it feels for people who are testing it in game. To double down on this, I think they could definitely do that with other weapons as well. Like, legendary items still are a little bit easy to find, in my opinion, and I think they should make it even less likely to find one so that when you do, it feels a lot better. In my opinion, I think that would be really cool. It kind of seems like they're shifting away from making everything kind of fair and moving back towards making things meaningful, and that is a huge W. I really hope we see more of that. Loot that actually feels exciting again, not just like part of a checklist, or when you load into the game, you know exactly what type of weapons you're going to find. And that's something I've talked about before, a good indication that a season isn't very good, and it's kind of been getting that way for Chapter 6 Season 4, is when you load into a game and you know exactly what your loadout is going to look like. I know what weapons I'm going after, what ones are better than which, and there's really no reason to use other one, particularly with the Wrecker revolver and the shotguns in particular. That's why I am glad that they added a new shotgun, because there needs to be a bit more, variety with that, in my opinion, because the Wrecker revolver, like it says, it literally just wrecks people. So at the end, they straight up said that they want legendary loot to feel legendary again, and that the repetition of getting the same good stuff every game was becoming boring, not only for what they think for people playing the game, but also for people who are playtesting it. This whole post is basically like a roadmap for how they're trying to fix that and make the game a bit more exciting. And what's awesome is they didn't just push the changes like quietly, they actually told us why they made them in this blog post, and that's what I'm reading from right now, is their actual motivations behind why they made each of these changes. That's the part that really stood out to me, the transparency. This feels like the kind of thing Epic should have been doing for a long time. They'll do this every once in a while, I feel like every couple of months or maybe every few years. Well, they have really good stints of communication, and I really hope that this just becomes a normal thing. We don't just want changes, we need a lot of communication. We need motivations behind it and how it is going to affect the game as well, and this is the best sign that we've had of that in a while. Especially in a time where a lot of people are feeling like Battle Royale is kind of falling off, or they don't really feel connected to the game anymore. They're not really having much fun. It's really important for them to give us like justification for why they're making changes and how it's going to improve the experience. Something really cool too, you guys, is that they literally responded to someone in a post saying that they had a ton of content coming for Chapter 7 and that they want to know what we think as it releases. They want us to know, how are you feeling about it? What's your opinion? Tell us about how you feel. And that's honestly huge. It means not only are they working on BR behind the scenes a lot, they're actively paying attention to how we react to it, and our opinions and the things that we say in our critique isn't going unnoticed. And there's been this wave where everybody thinks that Fortnite is going to let BR die. And I know I've said in the past, and I still believe this, that Fortnite is eventually going to kind of slow down BR a little bit. They do want other games to surpass BR inside of, UEF and in creative, but they're not going to let the game die. They're not just going to lay down and be like, oh, well, we give up and it's over. So all this talk about people thinking that Fortnite is going to let the game die or something like that just simply isn't true, and I just wanted to end that right here. But overall, you guys, this was a really good hotfix, and based on my experiences, it wasn't like a crazy changes. Like, I probably wouldn't have noticed these things if they didn't put out this blog post or this article and tell us what they were doing, but it definitely was harder to find things like, the lead spitter, the swarm strikes. Definitely found less legendary slurp juices as well. And another thing too is impulses were harder to find as well. I don't know if that was part of this or anything, but in this game, I had a hard time finding impulses, but it is what it is. If anything is going to be rare anymore, it should definitely be movement items as well. But let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comments. Do you guys think these changes were good? Let me know. Drop a like on today's video. You watched all the way to the end. You must have enjoyed, so drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. I make videos like these every single day. Use code Prozero YT, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.